When you think of Missouri, what sports teams come to mind? The Kansas City Chiefs, where the fans do the tomahawk chop on Sundays? The Kansas City Royals, two-time World Series champions. Maybe the University of Missouri Tigers, where in the SEC, football is a religion. What do these well-known organizations have in common? Tradition and success. Located 55 miles west of Columbia, 80 miles east of Kansas City, and 180 miles west of St. Louis, is the community of Marshall, Missouri. The home of the winningest football program in the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics, where tradition and success came together and conceived the Missouri Valley College Vikings.
He steps up. He's sacked by Carrington Kilgore. Back to Dedrick. He got him. Kinds of time. Now the block comes down. He goes down. Well, just pretty good interview. We had to get some turnovers in that throws it that way. There we go. Catch is made by Jadell. He makes a couple players miss. Now he takes off. Jacquard to the 35. Gets a block. Right behind the 30-yard line. He's inside. And it's going to be taken. Stays on his feet to midfield. He has the room. He's to the 30. A Baker to the 20. Looks back. No flags. Touchdown. Elvin Taylor. He takes it. Takes off. He has some room to run. He's going to throw in the end zone. Deep. Forced it on. Makes a catch to the 30. To the 20.
The 1920s was a good decade for Missouri Valley College. Along came Morrison Gymnasium, Greg Mitchell Field, Mural Library, and Young Hall. All were built with generous gifts from alumni and friends of the college.
I think Missouri Valley College has got a tremendous tradition in football. We have the winningest program in the NAIA throughout the nation. We started back in the 40s with a tremendously successful long winning streak that for at one point in its time was the longest winning streak of any football program at any size college.
When I came here, where we ate was in the bottom of Young Hall. That was the dining room. It later became a workout room. But when I came here, it was it was where we ate. So I slept upstairs and just rolled downstairs and had something to eat. Right by the Science Center, between the Science Center and where this building is, the Malcolm Center, is our practice field. And one of the things that we used to do, if you can imagine, big cans on the end of pipes, we used to run in place and lift those weights. They were like dumbbells, and there were cans on each end with cement in them, and that was part of how we worked out.
One of the big ones is that V that's sitting over there by the Malcolm Center. That's been there, I think, ever since the Greg Mitchell Field was established back in the 20s. That was kind of the rallying spot for the football team for a long time. It was the big reason why that's still there, even though the Malcolm Center is right behind it. That V is kind of synonymous with the football field and the program. And if you talk to any alumni or former football players who were around, from 50s, 60s on, they'll tell you about that V. Another one is the Ted Chitwood Award. Ted Chitwood was a really big kind of person on campus during his time here, and before he passed away, he was a big proponent of Missouri Valley. His wife still is. She helps out with the Ted Chitwood Award, which goes to the most outstanding senior player in the homecoming game. That's been around for over 40 years now.
Well, I can remember Young Hall, where we in the fall, we'd come in for early bird preseason practice. We'd all put our beds out on the sleeping porches, and all the football players would sleep out there together. You can imagine what that room, that was a large room, and it was just fun. We just had a lot of fun. We were eager to see each other again after the summer vacation, and I would like to emphasize some of the leaders that I was influenced by: Dick Butterfield, Ken Gibler, Jim Heinzler, Juicy Sprigg. There were Paul Moon Mullen. Just a lot of great leadership, and of course that leadership came from one man, Coach Volney C. Asher.
One of the great, obviously I want to say winning is probably as good a tradition as anything, with all of our sports, but he was 197 wins, 55 losses, and 12 ties, 14 conference championships, 11 postseason appearances, and from 1941 to 1948, they set the record for the most consecutive victories in college football. 41.
Long, rich tradition, 120 plus years of that. And I believe we've only had 8 or 9 head coaches during that whole time frame. Ashford hands it over to Gibler. Gibler hands it over, to Purdom. Purdom hands it over to Troth. So now, although Coach Troth isn't a Valley grad, he's been here for a long time, understands those traditions and where we're headed and what we're doing, and trying to keep all that alive.
We've had legendary coaches. Volney Ashford is a legendary coach that's in the Football Hall of Fame, Football Coaches Hall of Fame. We've had Ken Gibler, Greg Purdom, and currently Paul Troth. And up until Paul Troth, all of the Valley coaches went to Missouri Valley College and were Valley football players. So we took a big chance with Coach Troth, but it's all come out great. He's done a super job for all these years.
We are the winningest all-time football program in the country with more wins. So that's something to be very proud of. And that's not something that we've done since I've been here. That's decades and decades of great teams, great coaches and players. And so we just want to continue that tradition.
Head coach Paul Troth came to Missouri Valley College from Huron University in South Dakota, becoming the 8th head football coach in MVC history.
The football tradition here, they've always played great football, and as a coach, that piqued my interest. Okay. Well, what we want to do is every year we want to compete for a conference championship and we want to win a national championship. Over the 16 years, we've won several conference championships and we've been close to the national title. Haven't got that one yet, so it's kind of an ongoing process.
He has 25 years of coaching experience, with 19 of those years spent at the collegiate level.
We went out, we got it done today. Great job. Great job.
Missouri Valley's football program is arguably most successful NAIA program over the entirety of the division. We have the most wins all time of any NAIA program. It's about 30 or so more wins than the team that's second. Off the top of my head, we've won conference titles in the Heart from the 70s through now fairly consistently through every decade.
You know, the Valley's always had good football since the 1940s. We've gotten good players, and they've had good defenses as far back as I can remember, and I think that's been a tradition here to have solid defense. I mean, we've been blessed in the years I've been here to have some really talented defensive players. You know, one of them's playing in Canada in the CFL right now, and we've had some former Division I players that have dropped down, and you know, I love it, and it's kind of when I started, but I bring up the seniors on Fridays before each home game and let the seniors talk to the rest of the defense. It's a great way to build unity. It's a great way to express leadership to the younger guys on what's expected from you as you get older and go through the program. We've had a lot of success. Rush defense, I think I've been here 13 seasons. I think we've led the country or been second in the country 6 or 7 times. We've led the country in total defense, scoring defense, I think in 2012 or 13. So we've been in the top 10 or top 20 in multiple categories ever since I got here in 2005. So the tradition is to have strong rush defense, strong scoring defense, and strong overall defense, and I think we're trying to uphold that tradition each and every year.
It's a lot of pressure. Everybody want to be us. It's like we everybody's Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? On top of that, like everybody just head hunt for us every game. So like every game, we can't take a game off like most teams. We gotta attack everybody with that same mentality. Consistency is the hardest thing.
We win. I mean, that's what we do. You know what I mean? Like I said, since I've been here, I've only had one bad season, and it was the one we just previously had. You know, and that could have been a way better situation. But coming to Valley, that's what they sell people on. They sell people on winning. They sell people on, you know, the atmosphere, the rivalries that we have, you know what I mean, and stuff like that.
And it's traditional winning. You know what I'm saying? Like that's mostly what it revolves around. But you learn that, you know, playing here, you play for other people. You know what I'm saying? Putting on that jersey is a matter of just a pride and just courage.
When I got here in 12, they went on an undefeated season, got to the semifinals. So then the following year, we got back to the playoffs. It was #1 defense in the nation. And in 14, we won the championship again. So I was here for 3 of the championships, so the 4-peat.
Well, success, I would probably be like, I've been to the playoffs here 3 times, and that's a big thing coming from a small school, definitely here, just because of the winning program that we do have. So.
Very winning football team. When I first got here in 2012, we was undefeated as a team. And through my 5 years here, I played on 3 teams that have been in the playoffs. So just been a very winning program.
When I first got here, we won conference, and then I left for a year and I came back and we won conference again. So I've been a part of some winning teams, and once I got here, I seen that it was a winning tradition, and like that's all everybody knew was winning, so I wanted to be a part of that.
So I've been here when we was like at the highest that I had my freshman year when I was recruited. We was the seat like that year 2013 when I came in, we was ranked number 2 in the nation. So like I was like, oh yeah, we on. Like I just came to the number 2 team in the nation. Like this is gonna be crazy.
Coming to a school, we win majority of the time, make playoffs, and if we win from there, win from there. If we don't, then it's kind of exciting. Most of the people who started the tradition or been a part of the tradition previously, they come back so often and give us like their insights and like help us out. They stick around. You know, I've trained with multiple MVC athletes who've played before me.
Shut up and sit down.
Jake waits for the snap, gets it, steps up, he's going to run it right up the middle. Jake is across the 40. The throw. Hillman's after him. Hillman has him. Wraps him up. Back at the 27. For Andrew Hillman, his 5th sack of the territory. So just like that game, we get the momentum back. Well, that ball was he tight-roped that sideline, went all the way to the end zone.
Shut up and sit down.
That's also when Volney Ashford joined the team. He enrolled in 1927 and helped lead the team to an undefeated season during which the Vikings were not scored upon, nor did any opponent manage to make more than 2 consecutive first downs. This was the start of the Valley tradition and success. Ashford returned to coach football along with 8 other sports at Missouri Valley College from 1937 to 1971. His overall record of 197, 55, and 12 ranks him among the top 10 college football coaches of all time. His teams put together one of the longest winning streaks in the history of football. They won 41 consecutive games, a record that stood for decades, even at the professional level, and it still stands among NAIA schools today. Ashford was the only man to take varsity teams to national collegiate competition in 5 different sports. He was inducted into the National College Football Hall of Fame in 2009, and the stadium on the Valley campus is also named in his honor.
If you go back all the way to Volney Ashford's years, pre-World War II, all the way through the 60s, football was always the biggest thing going on campus. There are stories, we get alumni back from the 40s and 50s who just talk about everything that was going on with the football program at that time. In today's college football world, bowl games are kind of a dime a dozen, but back in Volney Ashford's time, making it to a bowl game was a big deal, and that was back before the NAI was established, and there was a national postseason championship playoff or tournament. So our teams making it to bowl games in the 40s and 50s really kind of galvanized the campus and the community. Volney Ashford is probably one of the best small college football coaches of all time. Back when he was a coach, there was no NCAA Division I or Division II. It was just you had the big schools and you had everybody else. And he established Missouri Valley as one of the best small college programs. He's inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. He won 197 games, and that was back during a time where you only played maybe 10 games a season.
So when you see Volney C. Ashford, you talk about a man that was much more than a football coach. He was a builder of men, and the admiration and the respect that all of his players have. Ron Hall just got inducted into the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame.
My senior year, we had a good football team. It was a great team. So I've shared this with other people. Our coach was not just a football coach. He was a builder of men. Well, I was recruited by Coach Volney C. Ashford, the finest coach I've ever known, and any success that I've had here at Valley, I certainly would like to say that he was the biggest reason for that. We went to the Tangerine Bowl twice, in 1955 and 1958. We visited the Tangerine Bowl. We played Juniata College out of Pennsylvania in '55. We played East Texas State out of Texas in our '58 game.
Going to those bowl games back in the 40s and 50s was a really big deal because there were only a dozen, 15 or so around the country for all levels of college football. So he was able to get the program to a level where these communities in Florida and in Texas wanted Missouri Valley to come and play in their location and to be their showcase team, and that was really unusual and unique for its time.
So we knew what was on the line, and we were all working for the same things. And that made it a lot easier. In 1958, we led the nation, small colleges, total offense. We had some dudes, we had some bad dudes, I'll tell you. We had some fast offensive linemen, some of the best. Larry Hall, our left guard, was drafted by Green Bay Packers the same year I was drafted by Pittsburgh. Ken Asbury, the other halfback, drafted by the Chicago Bears the same year I was drafted. So we had those three out of the same class drafted by the NFL. And then the following year, Fred Long, the other tackle, was drafted by the Houston Oilers in the AFL. So we had 4 draft choices right there on that group. It was just a great bunch of young men working for a great coach. And my teammates, were influenced by the same thing I was. And those are, I'm influenced by people like that. And don't ever forget that you may not know it, but you have some influence. You will, and don't forget it. Because as an old man right now, I am beginning to see how important your behavior and things you do can influence people and you're not aware of.
Well, in 1999, we won a conference championship ring with Dan Stanley. And he's one of the best coaches I've ever played for. He hired me as my first coaching job out of college. I was fortunate enough my last year to work with Paul Troth, and the job he's done now today with these guys. I mean, it's awesome to come back and see what I felt like I've built here.
MVC. We had the torch run that went from here all the way down to Florida back when that was first established. So football really kind of gave the campus and the school something to rally around for a long time.
Get it. There you go. Good pace. Singles are terrible.
Torch was obviously the group, the V Club, led by Ed Leslie, and different groups on campus would run to the opponent that we would play for homecoming, or in certain times in special bowl games. But that's one of the traditions. Valley will roll. The school song, singing that after a football game, as you well know, and at homecoming, at bonfire. The tradition as far as the torch run has changed. It used to be they would leave here and then go on a 2 or 3 day run, with different teams relaying on the blacktops and the highways to the different towns. The torch run now has been scheduled to where, Coach Mike Mockles has kind of taken over with the torch run, and we run it up on the track. So now students can participate, and then we run around the gym. And
there are a variety of things. One that sticks out is the torch run. That was first started in the 1960s. Dr. Leslie was one of the original founders of that, and the tradition was we would run from the opponent's home campus to our campus the day before the homecoming game, and so that became pretty interesting there. We have a lot of people within the conference, so it might be a 100-mile run, and several kids would go do that kind of a thing.
Everyone on campus knows that we are the winningest NAIA football program in the nation. We have 622 wins, so that there is a mouthful.
Football program's the winningest small college program in the United States, so they have the most wins. Well, I think it's critical that in the fall when you start, there's a lot of interest in getting off on a good start. So, and football generally is the first program to hit the field. I think it's very good. They set the tone, and they kind of get the ball rolling for the rest of the year.
Excitement on Valley football has always been how the team goes is how the semester goes. And so it's been great fun and great excitement. When the team's winning, the campus is buzzing.
Get it. There you go. Good pace.
Tradition was we do a torch run every year too. There's a tradition about torch run gets ran to our opponent's team, so we have a little torch run around the campus. All the sports teams on campus competing and having
the torch run. That's always fun. I remember my first time experiencing that. It was different. It was fun though. I like the fact that all the athletes come out and everybody watches it, everybody cheer on their teammates, running in and stuff.
I would have to say the torch run, the bonfire, those are two successful things I've seen, two big traditions that go on here at Missouri Valley College.
The torch run was real unique to me because I've never been a part of a school that took running so seriously. I believe they ran from here to Florida.
The Torch Run, a long-standing tradition at MVC, was born as the Tangerine Bowl in 1958. It was organized by former student and faculty member Ed Leslie. A favorite student of Pop Ferguson and a player coached by Ashford, Leslie and other students showed what Viking spirit was all about by running a torch relay some 1,285 miles from Marshall to Orlando, Florida, the site of the Tangerine Bowl. Leslie revived the torch run several years later, and it became a homecoming tradition. Each year, members of the different MVC athletic teams would begin the run on the campus of the opposing team and carry the torch back to the Marshall campus in time to light the Friday night homecoming bonfire. In the last several years, members of the Valley athletic teams take part in a 5K run around campus. And as in past years, after the run, the torch is still used to light the homecoming pep rally bonfire.
But it really took on when we actually made the bowl and made a bowl appearance in that first year. We were in the Tangerine Bowl, which is in Orlando. So they ran from Marshall, Missouri to Orlando and kind of solidified the deal. They had a 40-plus win streak in the late 40s during the war era, which kind of really started the tradition, the winning traditions. It's important that they get off on a good foot, because then it builds excitement within the student body and the alumni and the faculty and staff, and I think it breeds over to now cross countries in the national, going to the national championships, volleyball in the national championships, men's soccer in the national championships. Women's just missed it. So it's a great tradition. It's something that I believe traditions should be held and cherished. It's something that right now it's, I think it's important that we keep those memories alive about what that's really all about. It's not just, hey, we want you to go run a 3K, 5K rather. We want you to understand the whole tradition of the spirit of what we're doing this for.
Just the tradition, the relationships you build with some of your teammates. Our first year, we went 13-0. That was the first year we did tailgating. So that when tailgating got introduced, so that kind of was a big thing for the campus to get everybody involved. We never did anything like that before, so they kind of got alumni, they got students involved, they got parents come in early, they do tailgate and they go up to the game, so that was a big thing.
Well, I remember the parade, and I guess they don't have water bombs around anymore. That's balloons full of water to drop on people. So it was always great to see ex-teammates, ex-coaches.
To make the stop for the Vikings, that's a pretty good gain. 2nd and 10 from the 33-yard line of the Wildcats. And they throw in the middle again to Jakari. Breaks the tackle, spin move. Jakari to 20. He's to the 15 and Clark down at the 12-yard line. Wow. 1st and 10 for the Vikings.
Blumendahl from the pistol, back to throw. Hillman's after him. Hillman has him, wraps him up. Back at the 27. For Andrew Hillman, his 5th sack of the season.
And that was a one-arm tackle. Andrew came from that left side, blitz from the linebacker position, a little bit out of position, and reached back with that left hand and took Blumendahl to the ground. So it's Nathan Hampton punts, and this is a low line drive and hit. I think that might have hit one of the Vikings. Picked up by Jakari. Up the left side to the 50. He's to the 40, 35, 30. Waits for a block. Cuts it back to the 20, to the 15, to the 10. Touchdown! Jakari Johnson. That ball bounced off the helmet. Gale in his face right now. So 4th down and 4. Vikings showing blitz. Here's the throw. It is and incomplete as Kirk would break up that pass play.
Yeah, Jake, they list him as a wide receiver, but he's been playing a lot of defense, and he's a sophomore out of St. Louis. That would have been a complete pass. The ball was well thrown right there, and I mean, Kirk got there at the exact same time the ball did. Boy, the receiver still hasn't gotten up yet. That was a good clean hit. Yeah. He hit him right in the midsection.
And hit him with the shoulder.
30-yard line of the Red Raiders. No score. Second down. Here's a reverse to Jarrell Davis. Davis cuts it up inside the 20. Davis to the 15. He's inside the 13.
Our traditions are we like to win, as everybody does, but we have a lot of camaraderie between all of the players, even between different years. That's why we enjoy days like this where we get together. Well, we played in the Tangerine Bowl my freshman year, and I was very fortunate to be on that team to get to go to Florida and play, and it was a great experience. We didn't win the game, but we had a lot of fun and a lot of camaraderie the week we spent down there.
The walk of champions, that's very important to me personally, because when you first get here, you learn like, okay, everybody that's came through Valley that played football has walked the same path from the locker room all the way up to the field. So it's like you feel like on those Saturdays, you feel like, okay, I'm not the only one mobbing up here, especially you got your team already walking with you, but you feel like you got a billion y'all just going up a hill, finna go battle, and it's just like, you like, yeah. I feel it. You see that right at the gate right there. You see the All-American wall right there before you go up the field. And you're just like, yeah, I feel it. I can feel it in the air.
The winning coming up. I played on the 74 team that finished second in the nation. I didn't have a whole lot to do with it, but I played and went with them and everything. And it was just a solid team effort. Everybody that played did a wonderful job, and it was exciting to go to Texas and play. The success that everybody's had, seeing old teammates and everything, that's the big thing. That I only live 13 miles from here, but I don't see them very often except when coming back for homecoming, and that's a good thing.
Well, we all had a great relationship with Prop Ferguson. That was really, and the old Viking handshake was really, really important. We all had our own little idiosyncrasies that we went through, but none were really universal. Valley will roll would probably be the most universal thing that we would all say all the time, and I still say it after speeches. It's close to my heart.
We have the bonfire for homecoming. We have, we just have a nice little bond that, most teams that I feel like, coming from high school and then coming here that, we just don't really have that much.
We do the hockey dance at the football team the first couple of years I got here. And then we do a bonfire every year for homecoming, and all the teams come out and do a little dance or something, or a little event for the night. I've done the dance with the Samoans. We did the Samoan dance.
I loved it. It was pretty nice. It's kind of like a big family. All family have their differences and misunderstandings sometimes, but for the most part, it was a good experience.
It goes back to, back way before the turf field and all this nice stuff. We're talking Pop Ferguson, Bonnie Ashford, and if you're not a Viking, if you don't know those guys, then, the tradition is not with you.
Yeah. What made you choose Missouri Valley College and why?
I've heard this is a very winning NAIA program.
the winningest program of the NAIA. I mean, there's no fluke to that. They obviously know how to be successful, and that's obviously how they bring in a lot of recruits, and it's been paying off.
What does it feel like being a part of a program with the most wins in the NAIA?
I feel like we're being held to a standard. With being able to maintain those wins and keep it up and keep the tradition alive, and being able to do what you have to do as a player, get in the classroom, and be successful with the coaches and the coaching staff. We're set up to be successful, and that's why we have the most wins. So being held to that standard yet again.
And how tough is it being on a team with so much tradition behind it?
It's a little tough because you feel like you have to keep that tradition alive and keep up the everything that's going on that's behind you, and you want to build on what's behind you. So it's always about putting that next tile and the next brick on top of brick, and then soon enough you'll have a brick house. And now we just got to make sure that we take care of it and do what we have to do to make sure everything's maintained and keep the wins going in the program. Just making sure that everybody comes together at one, and in the end you want to win and be successful. Not only win, but also they care about you as a player on and off the field. So, just keeping the tradition alive.
What are some of the things you feel you learned from the seniors before you?
Obviously one of the biggest things is, I guess, leadership. Being an upperclassman, you kind of always have to take in the freshmen and sophomores as your own, kind of let them know how things run around here and how the coaches are. Obviously, I think that's the biggest thing, and obviously another one is just winning. Having that mentality that we're going to go out and win each and every game, and just that mindset that we're the best, and no one's going to beat us till they knock us off.
44 for first down. Bridges in trouble again. Scrambling around to his left. Looks for first down and has it. Jake, what happens here? They're going to rush three. Jake in trouble. Scrambling to his right. Throws out of the backfield in his bench. Jake takes the snap. Steps up. Throws it deep. He's trying to get it to Stannard. Makes the catch at the 23-yard line over the... Throws it over the middle to Jakari Johnson. Jakari Johnson's loose. He'll take it up the left side. The left hash marker, touchdown. Nathan Hampton punts, and this is a low line drive at hit. I think that might have hit one of the Vikings. Picked up by Jakari. Up the left side to the 50. He's to the 40, 35, 30. Waits for a block. Cuts it back to the 20, to the 15, to the 10. Touchdown. Jakari Johnson. That ball bounced off the helmet of one of the blockers. Jakari picked it up, went to his left, back to the center, and he'll take it the distance for a fight.
Shut up and sit down.
President of this college, she has done a tremendous job. This building is beautiful, and I just can't say enough about the how much the school has changed for the better. Great.
Even though Missouri Valley is a small campus, small school, there's a lot of great people who've come through here and made big success in their life and take initiative to use it as a clutch to get to the next level. Just because you went to a small school doesn't mean that you can't get to the top job that is going to get the guys from Mizzou or Indiana or Ohio State. You have the same opportunity they do. You get the same degree. You both went to school for 4 years. Stick with it. If you believe in yourself, work hard, you can get it. I'm a part of it, man. So I'm going to say that it's something I stand by. It's something I'm proud of. I hope we can continue tradition. All I see is Valley Orange and Purple, so I don't see no other schools. I hope we can continue tradition and continue success through playoffs, and hopefully we can get that next championship that we solely need.
If you want to come to a school that values its football program and makes it a focal point and provides the program with what it needs to be successful and compete at the highest level, Missouri Valley is definitely one of those schools that does that and really highlights everything that the football program can do. So Valley will roll.
Well, my advice for all incoming freshmen is to learn the song Valley Will Roll. And it's a simple little song, but it has a big meaning. And if you think about it, Valley will roll means Valley will overcome. Valley will persevere. Valley will endure. And it has since 1889.
Tradition, the Vikings of the sea, and we are very strong and bold and fight for victory. So hail for the famous Valley Vikings, fight, 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 fight. Valley will roll tonight, Valley will roll. Valley will roll tonight, Valley will roll. Valley will roll tonight, Valley will roll. When the sun goes down and the moon comes up, Valley will roll. Valley will roll tonight, Valley will roll. Valley will roll tonight, Valley will roll. Valley will roll tonight, Valley will roll. When the sun goes down and the wind comes up, Valley will roll.
Every year, a new group of young and hungry athletes will step onto the Missouri Valley College campus to continue the tradition of success and winning that is Viking football. So the next time someone asks about big-name sports in the state of Missouri, don't forget to mention the rolling, winning tradition and success of Missouri Valley College. Valley will roll.
Shit, bro.
He over there.
Didn't meet him personally, but he was here from 1937 to 1967. I've got a little cheat sheet here I'm going to use.
Quiet on the stage.
Don't matter.
Oh shit. Give me your name, the year you graduate, and what position you play.
Hold on, what nigga?
You
roll down there. Hold on, shut it off.
You good?